Always moaning, aren't they?
Yeah.
Shall I wear my glasses? Is that better? Rather than squinting at people.
Yeah.
So, good morning everyone. So, Thursday morning again. So, this is our PiPsCast. Welcome to our PiPsCast.
Hello everyone.
So, we are in a different position. We're down the land. We thought we'd come down here because it's a little bit warmer than in the house and a little bit brighter. But what that does mean is that I have to wear glasses because the sun's just a little bit in my eye line. So, we're sorry about that. So, we thought we'd come down here and talk a little bit about the land.
Yes, following on from last week where we were talking about hoping to build like a little day house or a shed. Sorry, I keep looking because we're sitting where it's going to be.
Yeah.
So it's just natural that I look at that.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. Yes, so following on from that, I've lost me track.
We've been getting on with planning it.
That's right.
Yes. So just here, you were saying, we were discussing, weren't we, about...
We were just discussing the jobs that we need to do before we start the build.
Yeah.
So, apart from sort of pricing the wood and, you know, buying it and that kind of thing, because it will be a wooden construction, we think it's probably going to sit on breeze blocks because it doesn't need to be very high.
That's our thoughts at the moment. It only needs to be just off the ground.
Just literally,
for
some
a breeze block
airflow.
maybe.
Yeah. But it literally has to be temporary, so it has to be able to be taken down and moved if
we were asked to do so. Yeah.
But one of the other jobs that comes from that is, although the ground here is quite level, it does have a few little dips, and when it rained really heavily, a bit of water did sort of lie
in certain areas.
In certain areas.
Yeah.
So what we don't want is any stagnant water or water lying underneath the shed. So we need this section just behind Darren here. Is the end where it sort of drops down to the next level, and I want to finish that off anyway. And I want
to put a little wall.
A small wall, not a retaining wall, but just something that says that's a drop down from that level to that level, and just to keep it tidy. And also it's still full of twigs and branches and bits of broom all sort of churned in where the ground was cleared, and they're all a trip hazard, so we need those.
We don't want to be tripping over when we're trying to build a little
with long planks of wood. It'll look like a comedy of errors.
So because I just fall over at the drop of a hat anyway, so I can't imagine how it would be. So yes, just checking the camera because it's difficult to see in this light. Sorry. So what we did plan to do was to go to our local, to Castelo Branco, and have a look in Castelo Branco for some wooden posts to build that little retaining wall, didn't we?
Yes.
So we did have a look at some prices, but they are quite long, with them being fence posts, so we need a car to bring them back. Well,
we need the truck, and the truck's in the garage at the moment.
And the truck's in the garage.
So we haven't been able to crack on with that one, but that's going to be sort of very early next week, isn't it? It'll be a first job next week.
I'm hoping to get a call back from the truck
for the
mechanic in the next couple of days.
The mechanic was quite excited because he likes working on these old trucks, because there's lots of them, so obviously they're useful and everything, but they're completely mechanical. So he was saying it's nice, even though that truck is like from 1987, and there's others that are way before then, you can fix them. And he was like, it's all mechanical, so you can still get quite a few of the parts, he was saying, and he's ordered one part for something to do with the steering, and then another bit where there was a slight oil leak, he couldn't find that part, but he said, but I can get it welded. I can fix it.
Yeah.
So it was nice to know that it will continue on.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a few jobs actually, which was also really nice about taking it in, was just to have that confidence in the car, in the truck rather. Yeah, again, I suppose it's that confidence of knowing that it's been looked at by a professional, and he was able to help us with the small problems that it does have. But there will be problems. It's an older car, but he has said to us, keep the car, keep the truck, keep
the
it.
truck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we will. So as you know, I think we mentioned last week, we're investing a little bit of money into the truck. It will be very useful. We'll be able to get those fence posts, get them here. We'll be able to bring the wood here as well. Because one of our friends said that one of the difficulties was actually getting the wood delivered. Not necessarily buying the wood from the shop. That's reasonably easy, even though it's quite expensive. Buying it's the easy part. It's actually getting it delivered, which then costs money as well, doesn't it?
Quite a bit of
So having
and waiting for it to be delivered when you're ready to get going.
Well, that's the thing, is it? Because I like that. Once I've got something in my mind and we're ready to go,
you just want to go.
want to go. So there are plans in place for. We don't even know what to call this yet. We call it a shed, we call it a wooden structure, we're calling it a tiny house, we're calling it everything, aren't we? What are we going to call? We call it a day house.
Yeah, just till we get in our
I don't
heads
know what it is
exactly
really.
what it's going to do for us, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah.
But what I did do relating to that was we weren't really sure, 100% sure, with it being a temporary structure. People around here, temporary structures just seem to appear, just like a shed appears or whatever. But we weren't 100% sure whether we needed to get permission in order to do that. We're in a forest.
We were pretty sure that we didn't, because it's only small. It's not like a big industrial size thing. It's only small.
That's right. So we were quite sure that we didn't need permission. However,
you went and checked anyway.
Yeah, I went to our local junta, which is like the mayor's office, but there's also the post office next door. You've probably seen it on some videos. I think we've also videoed it for a future video as well. And we went there. Well, I went there and I spoke to them, and I asked, and I showed some pictures of what it's likely to look like. It's likely to look like a shed, but it will have windows. And I was showing the mayor, the information on my phone. And she said, yeah, that's fine. And obviously we had to show where we lived, so we had to show our paperwork for this land, where our land is. But the mayor also knows where we live because she's seen our house before. Anyway, so I showed her that and the paperwork, and then they wrote out a declaration for us saying that yes, it's absolutely fine. So we have paper declaration to say that it's okay for us to put this house structure
whatever it's going
to be here.
So she sort of said, well, no, you don't really, there's no permit, there's no permission that you need, but thanks for letting us know.
It was more like
it is nice that we kept informed of what's happening in and around the area, and because of that we'll sort of just say, yep, we know all about it. Thank you very much for letting us know.
I think it seemed more like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that may have got a little bit lost in translation, because it's always that little bit of difficulty there. But yeah, as you say, whether it was a permit that you need, we're not really sure. But we have our declaration to say, yes, that's fine.
But so, we think, and we have become aware of, like, different areas have different...
possibly.
It's not even a bylaw. I can't think of just different ideas and different things. I can imagine in a much more built up area, like if you're on the edge of, say, a big town, or if you're on the edge of a city, then they may have more to say about it.
That's right, there might be an actual permit. They might say, yes, you need to apply for this permit. That's something that we have noticed over time, that people, it doesn't matter. You could live in a different part of Portugal, or central Portugal even, and there will be different rules. Slightly different rules could apply. So if it's not advice, it's just a suggestion that maybe just, I don't know, don't follow our advice that we...
If you're thinking of doing what we're doing,
just ask.
Do what we did. Go and ask.
Just go and ask.
And find out.
Perfect advice, I think. Because it can differ, can't it?
It can, yeah.
So that's good. So we're all ready to go as far as putting the little structure here is concerned. A couple of other little things beforehand, but we should get notification about the truck shortly. Hopefully we can go and pick that up.
And then we'll have our little workhorse back to
absolutely.
ferry in the goods, won't we?
Yeah.
So, yep, excited and looking forward to getting on with that.
Yeah. So last week on our PiPsCast, and I think on a couple of videos previously, we've talked a little bit about our budget and trying to keep that tight so that we can afford to make our tiny house structure.
Yeah.
Giving it another name, tiny house structure.
Combining them.
Yeah. So with that in mind, what we thought we'd do is keep a budget, keep a tally of things that we spend, and what we spend them on. So Elaine then took that a little bit further and thought, well, how do we actually live within our budget?
I'm always the one that's conscious about, we can't really afford that. We can't really afford that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it made me think, okay, let's just look completely at our budget and see where we spend our money, what we spend it on, can we make any savings, do we actually have any spare money that we're going to need, because this was never in our plan to build anything on the land.
It wasn't, no.
So, so we sort of looked at that, and out of that came an idea that, well, if we're living this life and we can do it, then I'm sure lots of people, because we have had comments where people have said, I would love to do what you're doing, but I can't afford it. Or I would love to do what you're doing, but, something.
Yeah, whatever it might
something
be.
is in the way of doing
and
it.
everybody's different, so everybody will have a different reason why they can't do it, isn't it, really?
A lot of the time it's down to money,
it
or
is.
thinking that you need more money than you do. So what it got me thinking was, looking at our whole budget, then we could actually afford the extra couple of €100. I think we said 200, didn't we? €200 a month was what we had spare if we are careful with our rest of our budget. Then we can have that sort of building budget. So what we would want to do as we're going through the build of this tiny house, I'm just going to call it a tiny house because it's just the easiest thing.
Go for it.
Then we're going to get confused between the tiny house we actually live in and the tiny house that we're building here. So we're going to attempt, it should in theory be quite easy, but I'm going to attempt to keep a record of everything that we spend on it. And then when we start that whole process, we're going to try then to add in everything that we spend as we go along, so you get sort of what we spent that week and what the total cumulative is so far, and just show that in very simple terms, because obviously we can keep all the receipts of the things that we buy. One other thing that came out of that when we were looking at our budget was our main outgoing, our main spend.
What we spend on a weekly basis.
On a weekly basis.
Obviously that's important for a budget.
Is pretty much food.
Yeah.
So that got us sort of thinking, let's just have a look at what we do, what we buy, how much we buy, how often we buy it, and see if there's anything that we can do there that will help our budget to achieve our goals. So with that in mind, we actually created a video which we're going to share next Tuesday, and it sort of talks through food basically, the good stuff, and we're looking for information. Is there anything else that you think you would be interested in if you're thinking of living a life like this? You don't need a big massive budget with a big influx of money.
because we haven't.
And it's working for us.
At
so
the
if we
moment,
can
yeah.
share that with you,
Yeah.
if that gives you a bit of confidence or gives you a second thought into that you might, want to do something. We don't want everybody to come to Portugal, mind, because it's lovely being peace and quiet. But there's lots of other countries in the world.
Yeah.
But if that's something that you think you would find interesting, then please let us know in the comments. And we'll take that into consideration, won't we? Because we think there might be interest in that.
So we done the video based on that idea of frugality that we have talked about in previous videos. The video is about food, really, and how we spend our money each week, which will then feed into life generally. And obviously we have other expenses like petrol or diesel. But mainly, so we thought we'd talk to you a little bit about things like that. So hopefully you will get notified because you're subscribed. You will get, if you're not subscribed, you will get notified of our video on Tuesday. Now that's going to be, so the idea is, hopefully, as you said, if it all goes well and if you like it, then what we'll do is on a Tuesday we'll do like a frugal type of video, talking about budgets, talking about how we spend our money here, those types of things. Thursday will be the PiPsCast. That's the way it happens. And then Saturday will be our video of the week, I suppose.
What we've done.
What
the
we've
normal.
done in the video of the week.
Dun, dun, dun.
I just made that up.
You did.
So, look out. Well, we've still got Saturday's video to come, but then Tuesday, that extra video, which is, as I've just said, about frugality and things like that and food. So hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. Let us know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I think that's everything?
I think that's everything covered. Yeah, I'm getting quite toasty. I need to move because one side's just getting too toasty.
It is getting warm, and I'm sorry about the glasses, but I cannot. I'm going to get a cap. Yes, I'm going to buy a cap. That's
it's in the budget to buy 2 caps this week.
We are. We're buying some caps, and I think that will help, actually, won't it?
Definitely.
Yes. Excellent.
So
sorry, you're going to go? You go for it.
So take care. Thank you for sticking around to the end, and we will see you next time.
On the next one. We need to get that one.
We need to get it right, don't we? Yeah.
But absolutely. Thanks very much for joining us. See you soon. Bye-bye.